Today we're exploring the abandoned Joyland Amusement Park in Wichita, Kansas. This place is in the process of being completely torn down, and honestly, I think most of it is torn down. So here's the easy way in. This was like a maintenance gate back in the day. The front gate is completely gone, if I remember right. Train tracks from where the narrow gauge rail used to run. You could ride around the entire park. And there's like a steel trestle bridge over there the train would go across. This is the Wacky Shack, isn't it? It's been a long time since I've been in here, but I do think this was where the Wacky Shack was. I explored this place over 10 years ago, somewhere in 2009, and almost everything was standing. How's it going?
All right.
Oh yeah. We were worried, we were like, is that security? But I almost want to walk in there, but I need like steel toe boots on. It's nothing but nails. Oh, yeah. There were rails. This was a dark ride. A really cool old dark ride. Got a fryer thing there. What is this? We gotta go see this. It's too bad they just collapsed all these buildings. See this chain thing? I don't know what that was. Man, this was a pretty big ride too. If I remember right, the Wacky Shack was like 2 stories, like it went up a little bit. Also might have been the Wacky Shack, but it was one of these 2. Or they could have been connected. There's still the rails in there from the ride. I think that was one of the ones with like the carts ran along the floor, but they had electric motors. So those center 2 rails were the power for the electric motors in the cars. This was one of the doors to the Wacky Shack. This is an old walk-in cooler. All burned up?
Burned too.
Yep.
Ow.
I'm sure vandals came in here and firebombed all this. All of these pads had small rides on them, like, you know, little flying planes that are made out of fiberglass and all that. Here's another one right here. Both of these that have these brick sections here were those spinning kind of car rides. Here's the controls for this one. Just has a start button and an emergency stop. Well, motor controllers are gone. Of course, it's all been scrapped by vandals. You can see all the wire conduit there, and this even collapsed. There were so many of these things lined up, and it's really a cool setup with just an I-beam and some pipe, and there's just more of them. We'll do another video with all the pictures from when I URBEX this place in like 2009. And that one, we'll dig into the history a little bit more. The last time this place was open and operating was 2006. Maybe 05 was the season it was actually open. Maybe even 04, but 04, 05, 06. It was a long time ago the last time they ran, and they only lasted for 2 years. And before that, it had been shut down for 8 years, something like that, maybe 10. And the last time I got to ride the rides was around 1994.
Little Joyland Mafia crew.
Joyland Mafia. This building is, of course, well, this lean-to is more of the spinning rides, and there's a sidewalk. All the wood's been kicked down, and there's a whole bunch of bridges across the canal here. The canal is such a cool place because it's part of Wichita's water, you know, rainwater drain system, and it would be full. It'd be leveled off, and it looked so cool. Nice forest in the middle of the theme park. So this direction was like a cow town. They had like a city in here with arcades and a stage and performances that would go on, old-timey performances.
Well, that's the one gentleman here bought all of that, didn't he?
A lot of the memorabilia went to a Joyland Preservation Society, and they're trying to do something with the sign and some of the stuff from that. More torn down buildings that they just collapsed and left in a heap. They should at least burn them and then run a magnet through here. This entire park sold last year for $180,000, if I remember right. Dirt cheap. Like the price of a house got you an entire amusement park on, I don't know how many acres, 50 something acres in the middle of town. Absolutely wild.
Well, worth more than that now.
Well, it's zoned single family residential, so they have to build houses. And of course, some developer will come in here and make millions. These were train cars, and they folded them up. You would go inside the train cars for part of the arcade. Here's a maintenance building. Train tracks are right over here. I think it ran right here. This was another maintenance building or office.
Burnt down too.
This train was powered by, I think, a Continental 4-cylinder engine. Super simple, rock solid, reliable, and it ran forever. And this bridge is amazingly well done. Super heavy duty. I wouldn't trust the wood, but the metal is so strong.
And that is poison ivy.
It's poison oak?
Ivy?
I'm gonna be in trouble after this.
Yep.
One of these pads was like a super famous carousel, and the carousel did get moved, the whole thing. It moved to Botanica here in Wichita. They're spending millions of dollars moving it and retrofitting it and getting it back in operation. Man, there were a ton of people walking through here back in the day. There's a Ferris wheel that sat right in here, a little tiny Ferris wheel, only like 20 foot high. It was super tiny. It had a cable drive and like a little 5-horse electric motor. One of these was the tilt-a-whirl too. It's too bad all the rides are gone.
There's a bed if you feel like staying over.
Place to spend the night. It's cool. I think this was another concession stand. You see that, like, it's got the wrapped up pipes like Coca-Cola and Pepsi use to move all their syrup. The wrapped up PEX tubing or whatever they use. Space racers. I would assume it's an old lighting chaser or something. But it's so basic, it's really just a voltage control. Super unfortunate that they just crushed all these arcade machines, skee ball machines. There's an old speaker in there. Here's Roller Coaster. It was originally called Roller Coaster, and then it was renamed to Nightmare and painted over, and then renamed again to Roller Coaster when it reopened in 05-06. Super sad that it's torn down now. It was one of 3 remaining of this wooden roller coaster design, one of the original ones in the US. So much of it's intact. There's the track. You can tell this was built in the 30s or 40s from those nails. Cool to walk through the station one more time. Here's one of the old manual brakes. It would have just lifted up the track to stop the car. You came down, you turned right there, and it headed back that way. This building is the motor drive for the thing, and it had like a 4 or 5 foot diameter flywheel with a big old electric motor that ran that. And this is the lift hill coming up way up there, and then it coasted the rest of the way. The handicap accessible ramp's still good to go.
Partially.
Let's go in the building. The one thing I miss from URBEX videos is nobody goes in nearly enough mechanical depth. And that's kind of what I live for, so I'm always watching these things like, why didn't you go look at that? I figured we'd just do it ourselves. We can go look at that. This is the drive building. It's all been stripped. Motor's gone. You see there's still some breaker panels. Kill lights. This was the simplest ride ever. It had like 4 controls and then a mechanical lighting timer.
We got some moon pies.
Moon pies. Lots of spray paint. This was the operator shack. It had like 2 buttons in it. It said like go and stop.
Go and stop.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't, so simple.
The ejecto-cedo.
Ejecto-cedo, cuz. And then I think there was like a pipe with an AB control that said like send a car. All gone. This is that mechanical timer that I think ran the lights, but the cam is gone along with all the followers. Really cool. Light switches, couple relays. Yeah, it did. This building looks interesting if we can get to it. We are climbing over the remains of the roller coaster, which is still extremely sad. I didn't realize the building was underneath the roller coaster tracks here. You see the roller coaster lift hill here? Yeah. Isn't that wild? It still has the metal in there where it dragged the chain up the thing. We did find a way in. It's my dream building, the power plant. There's a crane, an old gantry crane, generators. Look at these big 3-cylinder engines. This building is amazing. I never knew this building was back here. This, 6 generators it looks like. And this is the little baby generator that probably started the whole place up. What is this? A Blue Streak 3-cylinder engine. Look at the flywheel on that bad boy. Shaft drive magneto in there. Super cool. The scrappers have gone farther in here than I've ever seen anybody go in my life. Look at that, they destroyed everything. Every single wire is out of this place. All of the panels, control centers. They pulled the generators apart to scrap the copper out of the windings. Unbelievable. Dual plugs. Really cool. Of course, dual plugs, each one of these is a cylinder. So I guess I say that's a 3-cylinder, but it's really a 6, inline 6. Because there's a head laying over there. This one had water in it and cracked. It'd be cool to recover these things, but I think they're done. Amp meter, volt meters maybe, AC volts up there. Well, this one has a sort of modern ignition system, maybe a distributor because it has individual ignition coils. The inspection cover's off this one so you can see the rods and the crankshaft inside there. Really cool. GE generator on this thing. This was spare parts land, of course. Looks like they've all been stripped. Lots of extra O-rings laying around. There's one of the heads right there. You can see the 2 pistons. Oh, the pistons are in that head. This one definitely just looks like a 6-cylinder, old Worthington. And it looks like it freeze and broke too. Look at that. The block ripped in half.
That's crazy.
Isn't that insane? Can you imagine the water and the freezing that would have to happen to rip this thing in half? It's too bad these couldn't have been saved. I think this one's the most modern. Yeah, they had to have heat in here to make sure the thing didn't freeze.
I bet you it probably still works.
Oh, these old heaters always work, man.
Yeah, everything's
Give it some gas and...
They just stripped all the...
Oh, yep, all the copper's gone.
Huh.
This one, the block's intact. That one's probably salvageable.
This one has a nest in it.
I bet you could start that with like 30 minutes of work. Oil, water, a little bit of air, free it up with 10 guys hanging on it, and off she goes. Off to the races. Governor. Here's the control panel for the thing. Kilowatt output, AC amp and voltmeters. Line synchronizer. Start buttons and throw switches. So cool. Oh, this one's a Fairbanks Morse. This would actually work really well in our collection. What a cool engine to have. Everything's missing. Everything the scrappers could take is gone. Can't tell if those are air tanks for the air compressor or oil for the oil system.
Oh, Mercury.
Yep. These are DL. There's 3 DLs. And then a Worthington, a Fairbanks Morse, and a Blue Streak. I'm not sure what the DLs are. It looks like the logo looks like a bit of a crest. Exposed valves. Coolest thing in the park?
Yes, by far. This is awesome.
The panels are labeled with what they were running. Rifle range, fascination, arcade, prize center, tiger shoot, cotton candy stand, ice skating rink, parking lot, hillside. Huh, that must be lights way out there. And then the lights in the powerhouse. What's this one say? Pool, which was gone forever. Switches in bathhouse, the organ. The organ was super famous here. Merry-go-round, octopus zipper, dodge up, spook house. And this one was roller coaster, picnic area, shelter houses, athletic fields, Trabant, slide lights, office, mock guns. I wonder if that's a machine. Ski ball, Cats, Hardy, kiddie area, Butler building, and paint shop. I don't see the power for the log jam anywhere. Wonder where that was. See if we can spin it. It had a pipe so they could roll it before. I think she's seized up.
I don't think she's moving. So strong.
Put a nice bend in that steel pipe though.
Man, that's a good bend.
We found the other train bridge too. Look at this. Should the stairs are gone, but I'm down to send it.
Stairs are there.
Oh, no, the stairs they've been ripped off. I think we can slide down it. I would love to come take this apart and move it to the house. It would be the coolest thing in the world to have. Like, I would pay money for this.
We could put it out of my place.
Yeah.
There's room.
Honestly, who wouldn't? So the stairs used to be right there.
They're still there. They just stopped.
They took them off.
Halfway down.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, here. Watch out. Water. It's an old carnival ride that was portable, just like most of the rides here. You think I'll be able to stop?
No.
I don't want to go into the water.
I would relax if you did.
Man, that thing works great. All we need is some gunny sacks or, you know, flour sacks. Best ride in the world. So there's the log jam. The sign's gone. I think that was part of the historical preservation. This was all queuing. And you just have to, you know, zigzag back and forth. It's too bad this was the only like really serious ride they had and they spent so much money on it, but people don't want to get wet in Wichita when it's getting cold, right?
True.
So they built this amazing ride and I bet it's part of the reason it underperformed. So here's more of the queuing where you would get on. These boxes have all been stripped, all these cabinets. I have pictures of this when it was complete. All analog, just relays, switches. This was all natural water, and then that was the water stash right there. Oh. You can see the water pipe from the pump right there.
Yeah.
So it would force all this water, I'm assuming, that direction to push the cars here. And of course the water can bypass the cars by going through the gates. And this is the brake. They would swing out of the way to let the cars pass, or they would just push on them, that's what it was. Yeah, they had a hydraulic arm and they just clamp them. So let's walk down through here. This was all excess water, and you could block it off with wood. Yep. This was either water feed to the pump or water feed back, but...
I bet it was to get the flow.
Yeah. Man, this was honestly kind of a big ride. Easily one of my favorite things here. I have a feeling we're gonna run into water as we come around this bend. Yeah. This direction also makes sense because the water feeding that way would push the cars super quick. So we're still walking through here. Yeah, it's a lot longer than I thought. You know the ride, I mean, you must be going 5-10 mile an hour or something like that.
35.
This isn't a real roller coaster. It's like 5 because you're getting pushed by the water. So, oh yeah. And then this is acceleration, right? You would drop down on the wheels. Yep. For a moment there, I thought the cars went out of the station that way, but they clearly come this way. Really cool though, you'd see the Wichita water waste, you know, the runoff going through here while you're on a water ride, and the train, that's a train bridge, I think. And then this is all water stash for the ride. Yeah, it actually kept water in this basin, if I remember right. It's all concrete. It just looks like it's, yeah. It's so overgrown, but this is fully concrete. And this whole section was full of water for the ride. It must have held millions of gallons or something. All right, here we go. Going up the lift hill, conveyor belt. These are all rollers for the conveyor. Nylon pad for the conveyor. These are the emergency locks in case your cart slides backwards, it catches it. This is all water reservoir. All the rollers were on these channel iron. Yeah, this is a good walk. Plus it's super strong, so we know it won't break. I don't trust the old walking path anymore. Some of these are rubber or nylon, and some of them are wood. They might have ran out of money or they couldn't get the part. The lower ones have ball bearings. That might be a drive roller. Part of the control system, all analog. Man, we are up here. Is this the phone or is that a stop, emergency stop button?
Nothing.
This was the phone then. What a fun ride down. I think we can walk down. This must, oh, here's the drive roller. That makes more sense. Yep, it must have a big gear reduction. Can't even move it. So, what a gearbox. That thing's huge. It's an old ball door, like 20 horse? I think it's 20 horse. The ride down is gonna be fun. I think we can walk down it.
I ain't getting through there though.
We might. This is, adds water right there. Big water scoop. Probably to create like a water baron for the... We'll make it out. That grate right there is the water pump intake from this giant reservoir. And there's the main water pump. Man, we just rode the ride, didn't even have to pay admission. How's that tree treating you? They look pretty annoying. All right, we'll hop back on here and just walk. Here's the splashdown zone. This is where everybody would get splashed if you stood over here. And there's all the filtration. This must feed water that way because it could be a return, but the pump's pumping out right there. Look at that. It's like a 16, 18-inch pipe coming off that thing. No doubt. More of the splash zone. And the sidewalks for the park are right through there, so everybody would get hit. It's a mechanical switch to tell it when the car passes. Look at that. Yep.
Not no more.
It had a spring and like a magnetic Allen Bradley switch or something. And we're home, back into the station. Look at that. One more bend. Bunch of run-along water displacement area. It looks like it feeds under the bridge that you walk in on. By far the coolest and most modern ride that went in here, I think. That was actually a lot of work.
Yeah, well.
But it was super fun. This is all the water runoff right here. And you get to stand under it as it jetted through there.
Stand over it.
Stand over it. You're right, you're right.
Same thing.
Same thing. What's up? This looks like a ride, but I don't remember it. I thought it was all offices. Oh, it's all concessions, it must be. So that's kind of the midway of the park right there. Yeah, there's more Coca-Cola line. All the offices were back here as well. This was the train station. You can see all the train tracks are all folded up. And here they are. The train ran right, there was like a gate because this was where everyone walked in. It all was lit. And you'd walk through all this awesome thing of really cool looking lights. And then the gate would close, the train would go past, you know. And this, back in the day, was the swimming pool. It was a huge swimming pool. And they took all that out back in like the 80s or 90s from, you know, nobody wants to swim in community pools anymore. Oh, that's a big coil. Yeah. This is all panels. Bunch of power right there. These were probably changing rooms or showers. Oh, look, we can go in here. Bathrooms. It does kind of smell like bathrooms. No doubt about that. A lot of toilets. A lot of showers for the pool. Old school showers, just panels of metal. This looks like it was all boarded up. There were so many showers for the pool. Eventually they just called this bathrooms and hid all of these showers. They even have benches in the showers. Kind of cool. Oh wow. It's because you would sit right here and like wait or something, and then you just had this little tiny thing where you'd sit in a shower.
Oh yeah, on the office and stuff.
Yep. The basins are like 2 foot by 2 foot. That's like a military shower on a ship, you know, where it's just a box. You get 90 seconds. I've never seen that. Is this more showers? This must have been boarded up previously. We're gonna need some bigger lights. This is 100% more showers or something based on the ceiling. There's water? Look at this. This was a sump pump. Oh, this is the pool room. Look at that. These are like super antique pool filtration systems. There's a bunch of big like 3-4 inch pipe. Look at that tank, it's huge. And this tank, and these are the feeds out of the pool. You see that big guillotine valve? That pipe runs right along there. Man, it'd be cool to see this without all that water in it. And then there's a natural air entrance over there so they can ventilate the chemicals and chlorine smells. Any luck? Oh, that's better than my camera can see, that's for sure. It definitely looks like showers. Lifeguard area, maybe? It was probably the lifeguard.
Oh, toilets.
Yeah.
Urinals.
But I bet it was for employees or lifeguards.
Maybe.
Later on, this became like a hangout area, but I think this was the actual pool and these steps went into it. They look like pool steps. Oh, conduit.
Such a weird design.
Yeah, this pool was
I
gigantic.
guess it's way overgrown, so
Yeah.
it makes sense.
All the concrete's jackhammered through. This must have been a pool drain or something. Definitely was. Strainer. Clay pipe. You see how big this was? Like that's the beginning.
Yeah, that's insane.
And that's the deep end. This must have been another filter. What a bunch of cool stuff. Stairs going into it. Huge place. More of the train tracks. Narrow gauge fun. So then they put a sky coaster in here, but it looks like all of that's gone. Maybe somebody bought it. One of those slingshot rides. Really old school one. Poor train station. It was like a modern angled roof kind of thing, you know? Looked really sweet when it was sitting here. All the rails right underneath us. There's what's left of the roller coaster. Look at that. All just wood stacked up that they crushed. And then you'd have the parking lots right there with all those lights. Everybody would walk in these 3 big areas. Picnic tables, there's a ticket office. And you'd go down the entryway here. Joyland sign right there. And then there was one more Joyland sign out front. Look, you can still see that's kind of like beautifully landscaped with all the rocks and the trees. Heading into the park. In 2015 or something, they shot a short zombie film here. There's the pool house. Here's the next bridge that connects to the rest of the park. Tile floors in that concession building. Power to the park down there in the ditch. Most of the rest of this was like hangout spots with little buildings and food vendors. There's a small amphitheater over here. And a really nice place to walk around, honestly. Just chill. Another little lean-to to eat lunch in. Full of picnic tables, watch the log ride. Looks like there were some more small carnival rides right here maybe. There's an old transformer box. Lots of torn up pads. Stuff in the middle. All the old light poles. They looked so cool, it all matched. Those big globes. And the sidewalks changed to asphalt over here. This was like the part of the park they gave up on over here. I think there's a bridge and then go-karts. Huge go-kart track. The amphitheater was in there somewhere and you'd sit on the grass. Here's the go-kart track. Can you imagine go-karts being wild enough that people needed grandstands? Like, when have you been to a go-kart track and people are like, oh, I'm gonna post up and watch you? Nah. It's just trying to get those millisecond differences in lap times. Here's where all the karts would be. And this is the go-kart track, which is insane because it's gigantic. Fully asphalt paved. Had tire walls all the way around. Not much to walk around these days. It's all just grass. I wonder if this was a door from the Wacky Shack here. It's shaped about right. Used to be a big sign up in here that said roller rink. Well, this was Joyland's storage dump. Not much left. This looks like the amphitheater stage here. And we made it to the last 2 buildings. We're directly beside the highway now, so it is going to be loud, but this one burnt down apparently. The new Roman Target. Look at this. So much cool old stuff. Old TV sets. Arcade games. Oh yeah, all the arcade games are. Golf carts. Park maintenance, I guess. One of those cool ones that you steer with the handle here in the front. A Hugos from AMF. Oh, this is an AMF Harley Davidson one. Really cool. Easy Go, it's stripped. Man, that cabinet looks super cool. This looks like it might have been a bumper car or like a, you know, some kind of ride car that got burnt out. It's a ride car that had one of the bars. That is it for today. What Joyland looks like in 2019. Now, we just don't know what to call ourselves. I'm John Ross. This is Zach. We're urban exploring. I think we're gonna call it behind closed doors, don't you think? Or behind doors that are barely hanging on their hinges. That's probably more apt.
Behind doors that are falling down.
Behind broken doors. That might be better.
That's kind of cool. Behind chain doors.
Behind locked fences.
Right?
Honestly, too bad nobody could buy the roller coaster from them, because that was like, it was one of 3 if I remember right. One of the original roller coaster builders in the US did it.